Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Man killed in Don Barter River identified. The police have identified the man that was chased and killed by unknown assailants at a yard in Don Barter River in Savannah, Lamar, Westmoreland on Thursday morning. The deceased has been identified as 35-year-old Odin Wilson, otherwise called Bog. Wilson was unemployed off Barracks Road in Savannah, Lamar. Reports are that Wilson was among a group of people working on a motor car shortly after 10 a.m. when a motorcycle drove up with two men on board. The pillion disembarked, pulled a firearm and opened gunfire at Wilson, who ran and was chased by the gunmen, who caught up to him and shot him several times. The gunmen then escaped on the motorcycle in the direction of Smithfield in the parish. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, Wilson was seen lying on the ground with multiple gunshot wounds to the head and upper body. He was taken to the Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital. Slain Savannah Lamar soup vendor identified. The Westmoreland police have identified a soup vendor who was gunned down early Thursday morning on Barracks Road in Savannah Lamar. He is 55-year-old Elroy Palmer, otherwise called Soupy, of a land dealer address in the parish. Scores of residents are in disbelief following Palmer's death, as many would look forward to purchasing their hot, fresh cup of soup after work or parties. A customer who did not want to be named told reporters that Palmer was a good man. He added that the now deceased man would park his cart along a plaza where he would make most of his sales. He said Palmer would then make his last sale in front of the JN ATM, park his cart along the road in the yard, and then head home. However, Palmer's usual routine was interrupted. When he parked his cart and attempted to head home, he was attacked and shot multiple times. When reporters visited the scene of the shooting, the pavement where Palmer's gunshot-wounded body was had flowers placed to commemorate his killing. Indicom probing fatal shooting of 15-year-old boy by police. A 15-year-old boy who was shot by police during an operation on Water Lane in Kingston on August 24 has died. He has been identified as Narando Booth. Reports from the Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom are that the incident occurred in the vicinity of the Water Lane bus park at approximately 10:30 p.m. Deputy Commissioner at Indicom, Hamish Campbell, told reporters that the police have stated that 3 officers were on mobile patrol when they were fired on by 4 men.
Indicom received a report of a fatal shooting which occurred yesterday evening, the 24th of August, somewhere around 10:30 p.m. The JCF reported that 3 officers were on patrol, 2 constables and a district constable, and they report that they came across 4 men in Water Lane. Those 4 men allegedly turned on the police officers and fired at them with guns. The police officers report returning gunfire. 1 man, a young boy, was fatally wounded. 2 of the men escaped, and the 4th person surrendered himself. So Indicom attended the scene, spoke to the officers, have recovered their guns, photographed the scene, and done initial forensic examination to determine whether any casings are found at the scene, both from the alleged gunman and from the police officers. It's reported that a gun made of a piece of wood was recovered from Booth, but it's not something which could fire. So the investigation is still very early. Indicom want witnesses or seek witnesses, and will be examining CCTV evidence should there be any in that area. The officers gave an account at the time, and they'll be subject to further interview on this matter. In addition, the young man who surrendered himself, he too has been interviewed and will be interviewed again to try and reconcile the different accounts that have been provided both by the police and the person who surrendered.
PSOG says country needs to refocus on developing human capital, citing deficit in skilled labor. The president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOG, says the country is facing a deficit in skilled labor and needs to refocus on developing human capital. Speaking on Tuesday at the signing of an agreement for the contribution of several housing units to the new social housing program, Keith Duncan noted that with Jamaica's unemployment rate at a record low, companies are finding it difficult to source labor. He said more attention must be placed on certifying the workforce.
We now see unemployment at the lowest level that we have ever seen in Jamaica. The private sector is facing a deficit in sourcing from our domestic market skilled and even unskilled labor to drive investments and growth in business, which is likely can be a ceiling on growth. So human capital development. As a country, we now need to focus on our human capital development Not to say that we haven't focused, but we need to give it even more attention, as over 65% of our workforce have no form of certification. As a country, the public sector plus the private sector, because the private sector does not do enough training of our workforce. We have to deepen, upskill, and train our workforce to increase the available pool to address the needs of our growing economy. This will increase value added for our economy, productivity, increase wages, as the per capita income of Jamaica, which is approximately US 5,000, is probably one of the lowest in our region in the lower bands when you compare to Barbados, Trinidad, and Dominican Republic. So we look forward to the work to be done by the GOG and the Ministry of Education and Youth as it addresses the transformation of education of our schools and the work being done now with the vocational institutions.
I dread coming to another resignation. Teacher migration is not expected to severely impact the new academic year at the Marcus Garvey Technical High School in St. Anne, as Principal Antonio Jones says only 3 teachers have resigned their posts in recent times. Although we do dread the resignations, I am very fortunate as a principal, though, when I compare my institution to colleagues of mine that would have lost almost their entire math department, language department, general studies, humanities. One school that I am aware of lost 19 teachers so far, Jones reported. The headmistress said the current exodus from the local classrooms did not materialize overnight, as she knew of teachers who were planning to migrate earlier but were forced to postpone their plans because of the COVID-19 pandemic. She said that Marcus Garvey Technical has been into the recruiting of fresh teachers out of college to fill some vacancies, and while wishing departing teachers well, the principal nevertheless noted that there was a gap being created by the migration of those experienced educators. Some of you, though your skills are irreplaceable, you have some unique combinations of majors and interests and hobbies and experience, and it is posing quite a challenge to get someone to do the things that you used to do, she said, addressing the teachers. Jones suggested changes in the teacher training regime going forward. It means now that we have to look at the system again. What are those combination of subjects that we have in the college level? Are we really thinking about emerging professions, emerging subjects, emerging jobs and interests? Maybe we need to align college a little bit more. New combinations, auto mechanism, welding, and maybe art, because automotive art is a brand new industry. Again, computer science with art and graphics, because again, digitalized media marketing are emerging fields. So that is something new for us in education to figure out, she said. It is going to be a tough September, she admitted. I will have to redo my timetable. This is the 5th iteration, and it's still not September morning. And like my fellow principals each day, I dreaded coming to work, not knowing if there will be another resignation on the desk. Prime Minister Andrew Holness asks, what does it mean to really support poor Jamaicans? He afterwards provided the answer.
Politics of poverty. Everybody is trying to use the poor to win a political argument. That is a real travesty of all of this. Saying that I am here supporting the poor, I am supporting the poor. But the things that are really necessary to improve the life of the poor gets clouded. This would be the structure of the interest rate of the NHT. If your weekly income is between 7,000 Jamaican dollars and 15,000 Jamaican dollars and 99 cents, you would pay 0 interest rate before April 2019. If your weekly income is between $15,001 and $30,099, you would pay 1% interest rate. Your weekly income was between $30,000 and $42,000, you would pay 3%. And if your weekly income was above $42,000, you would pay 5%. In April 2019, yours truly, your Prime Minister, along with the Cabinet after discussion with the NHT, trying to figure out how do we make housing affordable, we decided that we would reduce interest rates even further so that everybody could benefit. That's equity, that's fairness, that's government being proactive. So we reduced the interest rates. So what we did was not only to reduce the interest rate, we collapsed the income bands. So what we said now, if you earn between minimum wage and 30,000, you pay 0%. Think about it carefully. Before, you would only pay 0% if you earn between 7,000 and 15,000. Now, if you earn between minimum wage and 30,000, you pay 0%. So a whole host of persons, a whole new group of Jamaicans were given this benefit of paying 0% in interest. This administration, this Prime Minister did that. Yes. So, we moved one step further. If you earn between 30,000 and 42,000, you pay only 2% interest rate. So even higher income earners got a reduction. And if you earn over 42,000, your interest rate is capped at 4%. So this argument about taking away of subsidy must be placed within the context of the government reducing interest rate for every category of Jamaican to the lowest it has ever been, plus increasing the number of Jamaicans who get access to 0%. As I said, it's a battle for narratives, battle for your mind. And this battle is being fought on a political platform, which I call politics of poverty. Everybody is trying to use the poor to win a political argument. That is a real travesty of all of this. Saying that I am here supporting the poor, I am supporting the poor. But the things that are really necessary to improve the life of the poor gets clouded, deliberately obfuscated to sometimes downright lies to trick the poor people into supporting policies that are inimical, detrimental, destructive to their own interests.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification